We are answering my number one question that is asked of me literally all the time, and that is, what's the difference between credit sweeps and credit repair? And this definitely is something that you're going to want to know, so stay to the end of this. It's not going to be long because this can change the way that you dispute, the results that you get, whether you're able to remove your collections and charge-offs and repos and bankruptcies and all of that, okay? So here's the deal. Well, first of all, smash that like. Subscribe if you haven't done so that you can remove these things from your credit report. If you want to do a credit sweep, hint, there is a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. Use the link at the top of your screen, my740.com, and I will see if I can personally do it for you. But the reason that there is a difference between these is because they're two totally different methods, right? So let's start with credit repair. Credit repair is like everybody buying and wearing the same bathing suit. Do you think that you would look as good as someone else, or that they would look as good as you in the same bathing suit? Same color, same fit, same size? No. So why would you use the same method for everybody to remove the negative items, right? Just as we are humans, we have different DNA, right? The majority of it. Now, your credit report is exactly the same way. We have different creditors, and even with the same account types, we can have totally different results. I had a husband and wife who had literally the same accounts. They were joint owners on everything, and there were 15 charge-offs. With those 15 charge-offs, the husband was 75% done at month 4, and the wife had absolutely zero movement. It was literally like sitting at a red light for 8 months. On that 9th month, she had everything come off. Why did that happen? Was it the day that it was sent out? Was it, the words that I put in the letter? I will never know because I do not work at the credit bureaus, right? But again, just with the same exact account types, you will have totally different results. And that's why the method is so important. So with credit repair, again, it's same thing for everybody. It is an assembly line process. It's what you're going to find with all the big guys. I will not name anybody, but we're literally talking about the big guys, okay? So this is going to be for those companies that take millions of clients. And if you go to their website, it'll even tell you how many people they have in their call center, such as 2,500 people just in their call center. So do you think that they do custom factual disputes? Do you think that they write the letters for you right then in the moment based off your credit report and use a manual process? No, they're doing a one-size-fits-all shot in the dark type of deal where you are just a number on a spreadsheet. And smash that like if you have ever felt like that. Not because you like it, but because you know how it feels, okay? Now, if you don't want to be a number on a spreadsheet, there is another way to do it, and that is the other method, the credit sweep. I'm going to explain the difference between these two, but to do that, you have to understand what regular credit repair is, okay? So one size fits all assembly line, literally, this person does this, this person does this, this person does this, this person does this, so on and so forth. You never know who is working on your file. They take absolutely no responsibility. You cannot see the copies of the disputes. You don't even know whether they're sending out identity theft. Are they sending out a template? Are they writing the letter right then? You're never going to know because they pretend like they work for the NSA, or they have a cyanide tooth, and if they tell you, they're going to have to crack it. I mean, it doesn't work like that, okay? So here is another thing that you want to be aware of. So it's a shot in the dark with the way that they process the file because they're sending out this same letter for everybody, right? The only difference is that it's your name, your accounts, and that's it. So person A, person B, person C, person D, person E, forever and ever, so on and so forth. It's all going to be the same exact letter, same exact letter, same exact letter. This is a system that I can literally create and automate right now at I think it might be 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I can go upstairs to my computer because we're down in my office, right, where I meet my clients. I can go up to my computer and I can take about 30 minutes and create that software and that process to automate this entire thing. Okay, that is what they do. There's nothing that is unique, strategic, Nothing. It's the same set of like 72 letters for everybody. Tell me how you're going to get different results, how you're going to get better results, how you're going to stand out from the millions of disputes that the bureaus get every single month. They have 1.5 million disputes. And you wonder why you don't get a response. Well, easy calculations here. What is that? $900,000 in postage. Let's give them a discount. Let's say it's $700,000 in postage just to respond to one round of disputes for that 1.5 million letters, right? Okay. So now you know that this is probably not the way to go, where you're just saying, this is unverified. You need to, send me this and my wet signature. And dude, there's nothing in the FCRA that states that the bureaus or the creditors or the collectors are required to send anything with your wet signature. I literally laugh when I see these letters. What are you talking about, a wet signature? Section 609 has nothing to do with signatures and everything to do with your right as a consumer to get a copy of your consumer disclosure, which is what, your credit report? Yes, thank you. Okay, so if you also didn't know, regular credit repair with these bigger companies, and let's just say with these companies, because there's only a handful of us that actually do this the right way, okay? They also only send out a couple disputes in a letter at a time to keep you in their schedule, their payment schedule, as long as possible. So you could have been done, let's just say at month 6, but because they're only doing 1 to 5 accounts at a time and one bureau at a time, instead of 100% at a time, that means that you're not spending 6 months with them. No, not 3 months either. We're not going that way. We're not going to be quicker. We're going to take longer. We're actually going to be doing 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. You might as well be in a debt settlement program, right? Let's just get real here. Now, on the other hand, okay, there is a right way to do this, and that is using a credit sweep. Now, with a credit sweep, it's very, very simple. It is unique. It is targeted. It is custom. It is only for you. We're not only disputing with the credit bureaus. No, that's only one part of this. What about the creditors? What about the collectors? What about every other aspect of this, the CFPB and the AG and the BBB and the FTC complaints? What about those things? Well, most of the time that doesn't happen in this process, because this process was designed to be automated, right? To get you to be paying $80, $70, $100, $150, $200 a month for about 2 years, okay? So this one is going to be your shortest option, and the reason is, as I started to explain, that it is unique, it is targeted, it is custom, it is done right then, it is the bureaus, creditors, the collectors, it is every single negative item that you have done all at the same time. Not 1 to 5 negative items per month, not one bureau at a time. It is 100% of everything. Now, if you didn't know that, if you didn't know these differences between credit repair and credit sweeps, then make sure to smash that like, and make sure to stay. We're not going to do this for too long, maybe about 15 minutes, and we're at 8 minutes and 30 seconds right now, because I'm going to tell you one version of a credit sweep you most definitely don't want to do, and that you can, or that you can, and why you can actually go to jail for 6 months for fraud for doing it, okay? So another thing is that most companies, when they say credit sweeps, okay, credit sweeps, and this is now we're going to talk about what I just said, they are generally speaking about where you create the police report. You say, it is not mine. I'm a victim of fraud, and, I'm a victim of identity theft. Now, one thing before we talk about the legalities of that, okay, one thing that you want to know is that maybe this worked in 2013. Yeah, 2013, that was pretty good year for identity theft credit sweeps, right? It was working, things were coming off very quickly, because if you go and you check out FCRA section 605B, it states that the bureaus are required, again, my favorite word, required to remove the accounts from your credit report when you say that you are a victim of identity theft. You submit your letter and a police report and your affidavit, right? But millions of consumers utilize this method when they weren't supposed to. And because of this, because of all of this fraud about fraud, now, even if you're an actual victim of identity theft, It's like virtually impossible to remove your negative items. Screw the 4 business days or the 5 business days that they were supposed to remove it in. No, now you got to spend 2 years proving that you are an actual victim of identity theft because of all these millions of consumers. Imagine just for a moment that someone goes and they hack into your bank account, or you leave your purse in the cart at Walmart or Costco or Safeway or Price Chopper, and they get access to everything because you're an idiot and you also kept your social security card in there, right? I know some people that do that. You should not be doing that, right? Okay, so now they have everything, right? They go and they hack your bank account, right? They use all of your cards and they go spend it here and they do this there and they do all this great stuff. They go to Disneyland and, then you find out because it was the weekend, you weren't really expecting anything to come out of your account. And here comes Monday, you go to buy gas and guess what? It says your transaction failed. You get on the call, on a call with the bank and they're like, oh, well, you went to Paris over the weekend and, went down to Florida and went to Disneyland. And you're like, what? I didn't go anywhere. So now you have to go and you close all these cards, but not until after they went and did like $10, $20, $30,000. Or hey, you know what? Even if it's $500, $600, or even $1,000, that's money that didn't belong to them and belong to you. And now you have to figure out A, how to get that money back, B, how to fix your credit, because those things are not going to be paid for, especially if you really only had $500, $600, or $1,000 in there, right? So what's going to happen is now you're going to write a letter to the bureaus when these things post to your credit report, even as a late payment, and you'd be like, hey, Discover, please remove these things because it was the weekend and I didn't even know these people stole my information and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to be like, well, tough cookies. You're going to spend 6 months, 12 months, 24 months attempting to prove in the circle over and over and over again, I'm a victim, no you're not, I'm a victim, no you're not, I'm a victim. I've seen it a million times. And sometimes I exaggerate numbers. So when I say a million, I'm talking like maybe a couple hundred times where, someone was an actual victim of identity theft. They had hordes of documentation to prove it, right? Such as in the semi-real situation that I just gave you, that scenario. There was no Paris, but there was Disneyland, all right? So, how would you feel if that actually happened to you and yet you couldn't do anything about it with your credit report, and now you're stuck with all these things on your report that you really can't do anything about? Man, I would be pissed. Not only would I be pissed, but I would be appalled at the credit repair and credit reporting process and system that allowed it so that this could A, happen, and that B, made it so that I can't remove these things from my credit report. You get what I'm saying? So another thing that you want to consider just for a moment is that if you're not a victim of identity theft, you should not be using the identity theft credit sweep. Okay, and that is different from the credit sweep that I do for my clients because there's no police report. We're not saying not mine. We're not saying that, it's fraud. There's no FTC report. There's no affidavit. It's literally by finding the actual facts from the credit report to utilize them to remove these things from that report. That is what I do. That is what a real credit sweep is. And sometimes it's even taking the collectors or the creditors to court, okay? So that's the difference between credit repair, credit sweep, and the identity theft credit sweep. One thing that I did warn you about, and now we're going to talk about, is that if you are not a victim and you utilize this process, it is a crime. It's not the kind of crime where you just get a slap on the wrist. It's the type of crime where the cops knock on your door and you go to jail for 6 months. Okay, so, and we're talking about real jail. We're not talking about some fake paper jail. All right, you really, really, really can go to jail. And I actually had 2 people who became my clients who did go to jail for 6 months for fraud and perjury, but they got the perjury charge. It went away because they actually did the 6 months. So this is a real thing. Please listen to me. If you are not a victim of identity theft, do not utilize that process. Here's another thing. Let's just put the whole legal part of this to the side, okay? And the part about your entire life, however old you are, you've been a pretty much law-abiding citizen, I mean, even if you haven't, maybe you're probably trying to change your life now. I mean, especially if you're watching this, right? Well, I mean, and then all of a sudden now you're, committing these crimes just because you're trying to remove things from your credit report. I mean, think about that. Another problem with that is that you're going to say it's identity theft. It's not going to work. And then you're going to have to come up with one of these two methods to attempt to remove it from your credit report again after you had just gone and wasted however long it took for you to realize that that process didn't work. Okay. So now you're going to have to either say, I'm not a victim of identity theft, but I do need these things to come off my credit report. So please, 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 with a cherry on top. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So last week, I think it was last week. It was either at the beginning of this week or last week. I spoke with 4 different people who had first said that it was identity theft, and they admitted just right on the call, like, I am not a victim of identity theft. I just did it because a video told me to, or a course told me to, or a friend told me to, or even a company told me to. And it didn't work. Obviously, that's why I'm on the call with you. And now I need to remove these. And I couldn't offer my services. Like, how am I going to go after you just lied and like broke the law? I'm not a perfect person by any means. And maybe one day soon I will, share a little bit about that with CPNs and whatnot, but not tonight. That is a topic for a different day. So I don't judge anybody. I don't look down on anybody. That is not my place to do any of that. I'm here because I want to help people. But when you're coming to me to see if I can personally do your credit file for you, there's certain things that I'm looking for. And one of them is to not take on a client who is so easily, I can lie so easily as, to the government and all that kind of stuff, because that told me that they probably didn't change and that they're not ready to get their life together. And it also means that it would make my job significantly more difficult, and because they lied, and I probably wouldn't be able to get those things off the credit report, and they would never admit it. The fingers would be pointed at me, and I'm just not going through that. You know what I mean? So if you did say that it was identity theft and you do want to remove the negative items, I'm just going to tell you your only option is to not use regular credit repair and to use the credit sweep process, the legal credit sweep process, okay? The one without the the police report and the FTC report and the affidavit. And you're going to go and do everything that I teach in all of my other 800 videos right here on YouTube, where you're looking for the reason that the account doesn't belong. And if you haven't seen this yet, it is how to write the perfect dispute letter. And if you have been following me or, whatever, for the entire 8 years that I've been here on YouTube, we're actually going on our 9-year anniversary. You're gonna know that I created the JERO formula. The JERO formula is very simply a formula that you plug all of your facts from your credit report into to create a structured dispute reason to make it simple to remove your negative items, right? And I'm gonna give it to you very, very quickly. You have AJERO, a JERO. Action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. So action would be delete, remove, update, anything along those lines. Justifier is just the word because. And the element is going to be date last active, date last paid, notice of dispute, date last reported, balance, past due, things like that. And you're going to find the facts. 3 different dates, 2 different balances. The high balance is lower than the balance. They didn't enter the notice of dispute within 30 days. They didn't change the date last reported, even though they said that it was verified as accurate. Those are the elements. And then the reason is going to be that it's 3 different dates, 3 different years for the date last reported. Obviously, it can't happen like that, right? Or, as I just said, the notice of dispute was not entered. So, notice of dispute is the element, and the reason is it was not entered within the required time frame, and therefore it's a violation of Section 623. That is how you remove virtually any negative item from your credit report, and that is using the credit sweep process. Okay, so again, it is custom, it is factual, it is simple, it is targeted, it is using only the information that you have on your credit report. If you are looking at your credit report and the stuff is not on there, whatever it is that you're trying to say, the balance, the past due, the dates, you're not going to use it. Okay, you are only dealing with the things that you can prove, because in the event that you have to go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau after you've exhausted all your remedies, if you don't know what that means, look it up for the administrative and civil and consumer court process. But basically what that means is that you did everything you possibly could with the Bureau's creditors and collectors prior to going to an outside agency. And with this process, that would be the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. If you do not do this first, number one, they're not going to take you seriously. Number two, your disputes are just going to be tossed into the garbage, or they're just going to hit delete, right? And unfortunately, that means that when you do exhaust your remedies and you do have proof and you did make a paper trail, they're not going to do anything to help you. So you're going to want to do all these things. Oh man, I just threw my marker. You're going to want to do all these things prior to going to them, okay? So, that is really the second to last step. Your only last step that you have would be to take them to court, and that is an option, but you first must prove that there were actual violations, that you utilized all the facts from your credit report, that you did not send in templates, that these violations are actually provable. Is provable a word? Provable, yeah, right? Again, it's late, all right? Sue me. So anyways, if you do not have this paper trail, then you're going to get nowhere. So that is another part of this credit sweep process, is documenting everything. And if you are doing your own credit repair and you are not with a company who is doing, any of this stuff, you are more than likely going to want to track your letters, whether that means certified mail, whether that means faxing. And yes, a fax transmission is admissible in court. All right. You probably didn't know that. And because you didn't know that, smash that like. And it can also mean priority mail, right? It can mean anything that is trackable. So as a business, unless you are charging your clients for it, you're probably not going to be using these things. And with the credit sweep process, most of the time you don't need to, because you're going to be able to see if they did an investigation, if they actually really verified anything, when they actually updated and all these things. If you're doing regular credit repair, you're not going to be tracking these things. You're not going to be looking at this stuff. You're literally just, hitting a button that triggers another couple automations and spitting out a letter, and that's it. Like, literally, for John or Jane on round 2, we received it, yes. And then now when you click on yes, it's going to trigger importing a new credit report. And when it does that, it's going to check for deletions or new and changed information. And then it's going to create the next letter automatically in the system. And again, if you were not here when I explained this, I could literally go upstairs to my computer and create that entire process in 30 minutes. There's nothing special about it, okay? So people who do regular credit repair, they're not doing anything special, okay? So that's not the way that you want to do it. All right, so if you do not know if you still do not understand the difference between a credit sweep and credit repair, make sure that once this turns into a replay that you come back, so it's probably going to be like 10 minutes from now, and post a comment. Maybe it'll take a little bit longer than 10 minutes. YouTube is kind of slow in the middle of the night, at least here. And let me know that you are having issues understanding this difference, because sometimes it gets lost. Sometimes I speak too quickly. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know what it is that's going to make it click for you to understand that there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, and the wrong way to do it is credit repair. If you want to remove your negative items, then you have a couple different options. A, don't do anything and they're going to come off 7.5 years. Why not wait, right? I know a lot of people who did that. My dad even did that like way back. So yeah, people do that. B, you can use the credit repair process and give them about 12 months to 24 months of your life. You don't want to do that. C, you can utilize the credit sweep process, the legal one, such as the one that I do for my clients, where, again, you're disputing all the accounts every single round, all 3 bureaus every single round. It is factual, it's custom, it's targeted, it is written right then in the moment using, at least with me, the JERO formula to write the perfect dispute letter every single time. Or with other companies that do credit sweeps that are not the legal type, they don't have the JERO formula unless I taught it to them or they learned it from my videos. Or one of my other coordinators or anything like that, or someone else that I taught in one of my coaching programs. But anyways, or you can break the law and possibly go to jail. You're not going to go to prison unless you are like a level 3 or something. But you may possibly go to jail for doing the illegal identity theft process. Or your last option is to see if I can do it for you using this link right here. It is my740.com, my740.com. We do a call because number one, I am just one person and there's 68 million people with bad credit. What does that mean? It means that even if I wanted to, which I don't want to even come in contact with 68 million people, especially right now. Like, dude, there's not enough people to go around. Seriously, like, chill out. But anyways, there's 68 million people with bad credit. There's only one of me. And for me to be able to help someone, I have to have the time, the resources. I need to know that we're on the same page. They have realistic expectations. It's a right fit for me. Obviously that I'm the right fit for them, but really that they're the right fit for me, what I'm looking for in a client, because I don't even charge for the majority of what I do. Like in the first 9 business days, like what, 5 hours that I put into a client, like for how much am I charging? So yeah. Space is limited, okay? So anyways, if you want to see if this legal, totally non-identity theft, credit sweep can be done for you, then that link is up there. But you can also, and technically this is the last option, you can also utilize all of my resources, my 800 videos, my courses, my masterminds, my seminars, my lives, my workshops, my downloads, my apps, and everything that I've created in the last 8 years while I've been here on YouTube to learn how to do this yourself. Because at least the videos are free, okay? So you do have a lot of options here, but I will tell you that there's 2 of the right ones, and that is either me doing it for you, actually 3, me doing it for you, you learning to do the credit sweep the right way, or utilizing my resources to do it yourself, okay? Because, let's get real here. A lot of people don't have the money to hire someone, right? I mean, it is legal to hire a credit repair company or someone to work on your credit report, but who the heck has that money to just be, putting there unless they really do have that money, you know what I mean? Like dispensable money. So the reason that I put out these videos is so that you don't go to a company who is going to use this process, against you, basically. It's not even like for you. I was going to say for you, but that's not really for you. It's for them, right? Because if you didn't know, I'm the anti-company, but anyways, because you are just going to be a number on a spreadsheet that is not going to get you anywhere. These accounts are not going to come off. And if they do, they're going to go right back onto your report. And because they were reinserted, now it's going to be like, I don't know, a couple times more difficult. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. And that's why I created my program the way that I did way back 12 years ago. Technically like 10 years ago, because 2 years prior to taking my first client, I had to study how to do this. But anyways, yeah, right way, wrong way, difference between these 2, and that is it. So if you didn't do so already, smash that like, because I know that we just spent time talking about something that you didn't know. All right. Anyways, subscribe if you want to remove your negative items. Make sure that you go and check out my most recent videos and my shorts. I started making shorts. And that is it. I gotta go to bed. It's like only a couple hours away for me to get up and do this whole shebang all over again. So I will see you later, and that is it. Bye.